She opened her eyes, her chest pounding. She couldn't sleep. Life had been so perfect. She had everything that she could ever wanted. But all of it was taken away. All of it in an instant. She couldn't hold back her tears. She cried again, like she did on many other nights. "My baby boy," she wept, cuddling up as she trembled in the darkness. She glanced at me as I slept. "He was so peaceful," she thought as she wiped her tears and tried to fall asleep. The morning came and sunlight lit up in the room. I slowly sat up in bed and looked over at Maria. What I saw terrified me, her bloodshot eyes staring right at me. I felt my blood curdle as she looked at me and whispered hoarsely, "I miss our baby boy." 3 months passed since that fateful day. That terrible summer morning, as beautiful as it was deceiving. I wasn't home. Maria sat with her laptop, checking her emails. My son Kyle walked down the stairway, rubbing his little eyes. "Good morning, Mommy," he said, as he smiled at her. "Good morning, sunshine," she replied. They sat down to have breakfast. Suddenly there was a thud from the bedroom, then silence. They froze. "What is it, Mommy?" "Stay here, son," Maria said, as she slowly walked out of the kitchen, her heart racing. Henry wasn't home, she thought, as she slowly peeked in from the bedroom door. And there it was, a black kitten, our table lamp broken beside it. She sighed with relief, but suddenly she heard footsteps behind her. They were approaching her quickly. She turned around, startled. Kevin crashed into her. "I told you to stay in the kitchen," she yelled. "I was scared, Mommy," he said, her expression soft. She couldn't be angry at him. He was her little angel, after all. "What is it, Mommy?" Kyle asked, looking at the kitten. "She is the little devil who startled us. She must have climbed through the window and dropped the lamp. Can we keep her?" Kyle's innocent eyes lit up as he looked up at his mother. "Well, we'll have to take Dad's permission first. But you can play with it for now." Kyle cheered as he smiled and slowly walked towards the kitten. It hissed and ran through the doorway into the living room. "Wait! I only want to play with you!" Kyle giggled as he ran behind it. Maria smiled. "He was always so full of energy," she thought as she slowly walked towards the living room. She heard the front door open and close. Suddenly, she heard a crash. Her mind froze. Her pupils dilated. Blood rushed through her body. She trembled and ran out the house through the living room door. She could not have imagined in her wildest nightmares the scene she was about to witness. There he was, laying on the road, her beautiful baby boy, ran over by a car. Blood stained the streets as people gathered, their faces stared in shock and horror. She couldn't bear it. She fell to her knees and screamed. She screamed, clawing at her face, tears rolling down her eyes. She wanted to die. Her child she loved so much. Why him? How could this have happened? She screamed one last time, and then she fell unconscious. Months passed, but the scars didn't heal. I comforted her. "It wasn't your fault," I said, but deep down, she thought it was. "I could have locked the door. I killed her baby boy," she whispered at night. I tried to comfort her, but she knew no peace. The medicines the psychiatrist gave her weren't much help either. She didn't smile. She couldn't sleep. Her nights were restless, and so were her days. And that morning I left work. My heart ached, too. I loved Kyle just as much as she did. Felt a little uneasy that day. I didn't know why. The days had been the same for months now. I sat in my office chair staring at the ceiling. I picked up my phone and dialed Maria's number. It rang once, twice. She didn't pick up. I closed my eyes, thoughts racing through my mind. I didn't like to think about it. It pained me, but I had to stay strong. I will take her out to dinner tonight, I thought. It was getting dark. I drove the car into the garage. I had called Maria a few times. She hadn't responded. I hope she's okay, I thought slowly. I walked towards the porch as the street lights were lighting up. Suddenly my eyes caught something laying on the porch. It was a black kitten, or whatever remained of it. It was dead and mutilated. I felt his stomach churn. I winced and called out to Maria. Slowly, the door opened. Maria's pale, sunken face looked at me. She looked haggard and tired, but I could see a spark in her eyes. How did this get here? I asked, pointing at the corpse. Oh, it must have been kids next door. One of their little twist jokes, she calmly replied. Come inside. We will clean this up, she added. I slowly walked inside, but I felt uneasy. Something wasn't right. I could feel. I didn't want to think about it. I was too tired. I need a warm shower and some supper, and I'll clean up the mess before I go to bed. The food was warm, but tasteless. I didn't complain, for I had always been considerate man. Putting my family's needs before my own was all I ever known. As I ate my meal in silence, I looked at Maria. She looked like she had aged decades. Her beautiful face had shriveled up, her eyes sunken in. She was staring at the ceiling, muttering something under her breath. Is everything all right, honey? I broke the silence. A second passed. Yes, dear, she said, as she looked at me, and then she smiled. I didn't know what to make of it. I hadn't seen her smile in months. Maybe she's getting better, I told myself as I walked into the living room. I stood before the front door, took a deep breath, and then I opened it. I was startled. There was nothing there. The corpse was gone. Not a single bloodstain remained. I felt dazed. Had I imagined it all? No. There was no way. Maria saw it too. We talked about it. Where did it go? I walked up the streets and looked around. There was nothing there. I need some rest, I thought as I walked back into the house. Closing the door behind me, I walked into the bedroom. Maria was sitting in front of the mirror. I slowly got onto the bed. I had called you a few times. You didn't answer my calls. Oh, I was a little busy. Sally had to come over for coffee, she said as she brushed her hair and smiled at her reflection. Sally, wasn't that Kyle's babysitter? What was she doing here? I asked. Oh, she was Kyle's favorite, so I called her over for some chit-chat to thank her for taking good care of our son. Oh, I see. Well, it's good to have some company from time to time. I'm glad you had her over. Yes, dear, she replied, as she stared at the mirror and smiled again. Alright, I'll get some rest then. Good night, I said, as I slowly closed my eyes. My mind was uneasy. Something definitely wasn't right. I slowly opened my eyes and looked at Maria. She wasn't looking at the mirror anymore. She was staring right at me. Her eyes felt cold and lifeless, but there was something in them. Slowly, she twisted her lips and grinned at me. A shiver ran down my spine, but I closed my eyes. My mind wasn't working. I simply was too exhausted. And before I could think of anything any longer, I was fast asleep. It was midnight. I slowly opened my eyes. I was drenched in sweat. My heart was beating faster than normal. I wiped the sweat from my eyebrows and I looked at my side. Maria wasn't there. I slowly got out of bed, softly calling out her name. Maria? Where are you? There was no reply. I was about to call out a little louder. I heard noises. It was coming from the basement. I stood there, just stood still, and tried to focus on the sounds, and couldn't make out what they were. I picked up a flashlight and slowly walked out the bedroom into the hallway. I slowly walked towards the basement door. It was wide open. I walked down the staircase, and the noises stopped. The room was dark, but I could see lights and a dark silhouette. It was crouched, but I could feel its eyes looking at me. I turned on the flashlight and flashed a beam of light directly at the silhouette. My mind couldn't comprehend what I saw next. There she was, drenched in blood, holding a bloody knife in one hand. She was panting, but she had a horrific grin on her face when she looked at me with her bloodshot eyes. There were two bodies at her feet. One was the cat carcass, and the other was that of a human, of a girl. Sally? My mind was racing. I flashed a light up ahead. I saw a photo of our sons. There was an altar and candles around it. I could see the lights flicker. But before I could react or even speak, Maria ran towards me, shrieking. I never thought a human could make a sound so horrific. She charged at me, and as I turned around and dashed back into the hallway, I could hear footsteps behind me, approaching rapidly. She was getting closer. I ran into the bedroom and tried to close the door. Too late. She pushed back. I couldn't put the door shut. Her strength was unnatural. I will bring our son back! She shrieked. She pushed the door one last time. As I tripped and fell onto the ground, I saw her horrific grin. She lifted the knife and leapt at me, but I rolled away before she could stab me. I got up quickly and moved towards the closet. Maria shrieked again. As she got up to her feet, I pulled out my gun from the closet and pointed at her. Stop! Stop! I screamed. Please stop! I only want to bring our son back! Don't you understand? She shrieked again. As she ran towards me, my heart beating out of my chest, my mind went blank. And as I closed my eyes and pulled the trigger, with a thud, she dropped dead onto the floor. I opened my eyes and looked at her lifeless body. I wanted to scream, but I didn't have the strength. I dropped to my knees, trembling, horrified. This is a nightmare. What the hell even was this? Then suddenly, I heard a rush of wind and felt something breathe cold air onto my neck. I froze again. I felt it behind me, but I couldn't turn around. I felt defeated. I didn't care anymore. I closed my eyes as it slowly whispered into the darkness. Come join us, Daddy. Come join me and Mommy.